Good afternoon and welcome to Nine's Saturday Footy. Welcome back if you're here with us earlier for the Warriors Roosters. It is round 2 of the 2020 Women's Premiership and the stakes are high. A grand final rematch. The Dragons need to win to keep their hopes alive, while for the Broncos, they could be just 60 minutes away from a third grand final appearance and well on their way to 3 straight premierships. We are at a sun-drenched Bankwest Stadium that's shot high overhead. It is a beautiful day for footy. And joining me once more, Rowan Sims. And Rowan, what do you make of these two star-studded sides?
Good afternoon, Maddie. And we've seen a lot of changes within both sides at the moment. I think what I saw last week, the Dragons' middle looked a little bit shaky. So I think the Broncos, the middle forwards that they have, can create a lot of issues. So it's going to be a really interesting contest up that middle third. And then, of course, we see Tamika Upton out the back. We know exactly what she can do, and she is a danger everywhere around the field.
The major change for the Dragons and the late change. Number 14, Aliyah Fasavalu Faumasili coming into the starting lineup in hooker, whilst Keely Davis goes to number 6, Shaq Tungai, a late withdrawal because of a shoulder injury, which means that they will be, as Maddie Studden makes her way out, they will be dealing with some late changes.
Well, we've seen late changes on that team list, and I think one thing that people will be looking at is the change with Ali Brigginshaw moving to lock. And I want to have a look at these two players, Maddie Studden and Ali Brigginshaw. Both number 7s, but Ali will be playing in that lock position today. Last week, I think Maddie needed to take a little bit more control, make sure she moved her team around the field, whereas last week, Ali, on the other hand, waited and bided her time and then just built her way into the game. So they will be playing different roles this week, but both still wanting to ensure they control that middle of the field and move their team around the way they want them to.
3 times these sides have met. 3 times the Broncos have walked away victorious. The most recent of those, the grand final last year. The rematch is underway at a sun-drenched Bankwest Stadium, and it is Elsie Albert who will start this week where she left off last. Strong and hard and first tackle, and a penalty blown by first-time referee Belinda Sharp.
Well, it's good to see Belinda Sharp out there, the first female referee we've seen in the NRLW this year, and it's the first time that she's going to be refereeing in the middle with the single referee system. So we'll see how she goes today. But straight off the bat, I mean, that is a silly penalty to give away 15 seconds into your game. The Dragons now, with all the strike power that they have, get themselves already on their own halfway and can get into good ball almost immediately.
It'll be Isabel Kelly, one of the stars of the Dragons, wearing the number 4, who gets us underway and goes over the Dragons' 40-metre line. Shaylee Bent. Stars right across the Dragons' 17. They made a couple of changes after last year, and one of those who's come into the side, Ellie Johnston, in her debut year. She was off the bench last week and made such an impact, been promoted to the starting lineup. Davis is met by Aitken, and Maytone is brought to the ground short of the 10. Surgis in an acting half to Apps, who left the field last week because of an HIA, but she's back. And she's tackled by Lenarduzzi on the last. Fasavalu Faumasili goes herself, sees half an opportunity. She's going to be held up in goal.
Change over.
Starting
Just there.
in the number 9, Fasavalu Faumasili, and she has the confidence to go herself early.
Well, what I like about this is that the Dragons have obviously done their homework. They know exactly where their spaces are and where they need to be running at, and that was good vision from her on the last tackle. It's a good position to finish in. Even though they didn't get the kick away, they can pin the Broncos down here with their defence.
Jules Robinson wearing the number 3. She scored a try last week. Ran for over 130 metres, one of the dominant players for the Broncos in the victory over the Warriors in week 1, and another one of those who had such a great game, Amber Hall, showing why, stands in the tackle and gets the pass away to Racine McGregor, and Ray is tackled on the 30. Brigginshaw, Boyle, sit by Apps and Surgis. Steph Hancock, the former Bronco, lounging over the top. Gould, Aitken. Short pass to Mato, sit by Davis. Surgis and Hancock again, a second tackle. Steph Hancock, the veteran Dragon. And another veteran in Ali Brigginshaw, one of the most celebrated women in the game, puts it high, and Bremner takes it comfortably and brings it back and is met by Ward. Alana Ferguson.
Conditions are absolutely stunning down here on the sideline. We've got a dry pitch, so open game of footy. I'm expecting the last game that we saw in NRLW at 11:30 was a really fast-paced game, so I'm expecting these two teams to continue this fast-paced footy, use that ball to really tire out the opposition. I think we'll see a really high-quality match today, guys.
Alana, Jess Surgis just took that hit up, and she's come out a little bit limp. Is there any word on her leading into the game? I saw her doing a fitness test.
I did actually catch up with Jess Surgis just before they were running out to training. She was pretty honest with me. She said, you know what, it's sore, but I think I'll be able to get through it. So I think it's just a matter of how well she can actually handle that pain out there. But she's definitely got some pain and she's just trying to do her best with it, as we see Tamika Upton handle the ball and then start that set of 6 for the Broncos.
Not a perfect start for Upton on the back of what was, you'd almost have to call a perfect week last week. Those 3 tries in the first half was the talk of the NRLW. We said going in that she was one of the stars of the future of the Broncos. Well, she arrived in week 1. What can she do this afternoon? Lenarduzzi. And she takes it over the 20.
That was a much higher finish there for the Dragons. We've seen, as we see, an error here in the play the ball from Lenarduzzi. I think she's speaking to Ali, calling to check it out. But here we go, captain's challenge, first one for the Broncos.
Lucky. Have a captain's challenge by the Broncos for the decision of knock-on.
Well, losing it this early, Millie Boyle with some blood coming from the eye. You'd need to be confident in the 4th minute. So it's Chelsea Lenarduzzi who has it, and there is a hand in there.
Well, Elsie Albert's hand is on the ball, so this could very well be successful.
She looked immediately at the ref, Lenarduzzi, as there's Elsie Albert's left hand all over the footy.
There is some downward pull movement.
Brisbane Broncos player loses the ball in the tackle. Challenge by the Broncos is unsuccessful.
Well, I'm a liar.
So there we go. The challenge is unsuccessful.
And that's why I'm not in the bunker, Matt. That's why I'm up here with you.
4 minutes 20, and they have blown their captain's challenge. Millie Boyle gets that head bandaged up. Have another look at the head clash. Straight into Surgis, and immediately brings out the claret.
And Winksy's got a hard head too.
She doesn't look good, Millie Boyle. She was another one. Had a sensational game last week, the 22-year-old. Another one, and we focused throughout the course of the day, the crosscode star. She was a Wallaroo Queensland Reds player, and now she's a Bronco as Surgis, who said it was that caused the injury, has the footy. And the Dragons looking to start in a manner they couldn't do in the grand final. Fast and in front. Kezi Apps bounces off Gould and turns and makes another metre. Elsie Albert, straight and hard, and Lenarduzzi looks to get a bit of payment back. It was Albert who caused the error, and Lenarduzzi raced down to the line to get to her straight out of dummy half. And this one is going to be allowed to play on, and it's going to be called a knock-on. So dashed out of dummy half did Fasavalu Falmasili. Second time she's done that one, but not able to hold the ball.
I think she'd want a time again with that one. It was the wrong play at that time. They were very much set in front of her, and as you know, you're allowed to play at the ball if you're over the goal line and looking to try and score a try. So now the Broncos get themselves out of trouble. Chelsea Lenarduzzi will breathe a huge sigh of relief.
A lot of these players were involved in the grand final last year. It was a 30-6 win to the Broncos, a big second half. Ruan, if you were involved in that game, and this is the first chance back, is Boyle. Looks to get the pass away, ill-advised, but is allowed to play on. Aitken has it, and then she's tackled on the halfway line. McGregor at acting half. Lenarduzzi goes straight into Johnston, and Fasavalu Falmasili underneath. Boyd cut out, Brigginshaw cuts out Mato, Aitken, and Upton. Do you have scars from last year's grand final, Roo, or is it a new season, new slate?
Well, they had a lot of new signings. We'll see Aitken,
she's away, Mato is through. She has Bremner to beat. Bremner swings it to the ground. So the Broncos now on the attack. Last tackle. Aitken Cut out pass to Brown, and Brown is met by Chapman, and it's shut down.
And over.
The Broncos chancing it with ball in hand, but the Dragons defenders and Chapman up to the challenge.
They certainly were. I think on that play, they probably would have preferred to just dink that ball in behind and push for a repeat set of 6. But Jamie Chapman comes up with a beautiful play on her opposition winger. The long ball, or it's Talisha Harden we're seeing go pouring through that gap through the middle. They then do a short side raid on the left, but the Dragons up to the challenge.
Isabel Kelly steps over Gould, plays the ball. It was a messy one, allowed to play on, and Hancock, short pass, and Bremner inside her. Just lurching inside, and expect to see Bremner, who was great last week, as Elsie Albert knocks the ball on. It's picked up by Hall, and the Broncos immediately go back on the attack. McGregor, short side. Oh, hits Frassard, but she's cut in half. Penatani with the tackle. Hall pulled down on the 20. Had 12 runs last week in just 40 minutes. She was big. Nadusi, run around Brigginshaw. Aitken tries to run around Davis. Can't do so. The defender up to the challenge. Upton at acting half. Brigginshaw inside to Lenadusi, who goes straight at Farsavalu. Falmasili gets the ball to Upton. Upton passes it to Robinson, and she'll score. The Broncos. This is why they are back-to-back premiers. They go from defence to attack, and they're the first on the board.
Again, a beautifully worked left side play as we see here on the Harvey Norman replay. Chelsea Lenadusi just punches it up through the middle, gets the arms free. Tamika Upton looked like she was about to start where she left off last week, but unselfishly throws a beautiful ball to Julia Robinson. But this is the drama, this is the trouble that the Broncos middles can cause. The offload, how many players they draw in. It's just fantastic work. Alana.
I've just noticed on this left edge, we know that Ellie Brigginshaw is playing in lock at the moment, but then the way that her and Taryn Aiken are both attacking this side, Ellie Brigginshaw is involved early here setting up Lenadusi, and they just keep popping up. So the defence looked quite frazzled. They're not actually sure where the attack's going to come from. They're both setting up plenty of attacking options, and they just look a little bit frazzled. I think the Dragons' communication in defence is lacking that little bit, and the opportunities are just going to come pouring through with both of them just continually coming up with so many attacking options.
She's a truck driver in the Defence Force, based in Townsville with the ADF, the 22-year-old Julia Robinson. Plays on the wing in the Defence Force team as well. Ward, as the conversion is successful. Ever. Shit. The long and storied history, she is the leading try scorer in the comp system. Julia. Jules. I keep calling her Jules because I know a fucking Jules Robinson. The chick from Married at First Sight.
Oh, yeah.
Julia Robinson, with that try, becomes the leading try scorer in NRLW with 5. Scored last week and has started in perfect fashion. So Davis gets us underway. And McGregor takes it over ahead and gives the assignment to Lenadusi to go forward and straight into Bent. The result from the earlier game today, the Roosters continue their undefeated run for the season. 22-12 victors over the Warriors, who are yet to get their first win on the board. And so the Roosters have gone a long way to qualifying for the grand final on grand final day. They'd be sitting here watching this, cheering on the Broncos, because if they do, they will all but assure a Broncos-Roosters grand final. Of course, if it's a Dragons victory today, next week all to play for. Brigginshaw, the dummy was successful, and now Lenadusi goes herself. It was 4-on-1 outside her, but she, being a front rower, held onto the footy. McGregor. Cut out pass to Frassard. Pops the pass to Ward, but it's called forward, and it'll be a turnover.
Well, I'm sure the Dragons will be breathing a huge sigh of relief there. At the start of the game, they really had the ascendancy. Maddie Studden got her hands on the ball. They had some high-quality finishes to their set, but then the error by Elsie Albert led to that first try by the Broncos. And the Broncos, when you give them that much possession close to the line, they will make you pay for it. So we've got a bit of an injury here. It looks as though it's Racine McGregor limping out of that tackle.
She got injured last week. Ray McGregor had that collarbone or neck injury, had to be stretchered off. The great news for Ray, didn't seem to have any ill effects from it, lining up today, but was largely fine during the week as well.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear, and hopefully that ankle holds up.
Stay in. Ellie, stay there. Time on.
So it's Davis via Apps who will start the set for the Dragons. 11 minutes into the first half, 30-minute halves in NRLW, unlike the 40 of the men. As Chapman on the inside has Surgis, Winks as she likes to be called, has the ankle strapped, but as Alana mentioned, she says she's okay in open space. She's one of the best in the game, possibly the best in the game to watch, as Apps goes straight into Gould and brought down short of the 30. Studden drifts across field. Albert drops it again, lands in the hands of Frassard. It goes to ground as well, and it'll be a double knock-on.
Double knock-on.
Elsie Albert,
Dragons.
a couple of handling errors to start the game.
What do you want to do?
Well, the Broncos look as though they're going to take a midfield scrum here. And now we know the attacking prowess that the Broncos have. The Dragons really need to ensure that their defensive line stays intact. They need to ensure that they move together as a unit and don't let, at the moment, their edges are just getting perforated all the time with the Broncos attack. They need to make sure they stick together, tie in, and lots of communication.
Maddie, stay there. All in. Out.
Robinson, the try scorer. You can't use words like perforated too often, Ruan.
I almost couldn't get it out.
I only use words that I can spell. As Boyle has that head bandaged, but still going. The New South Wales and Australian number 8. Lena Ducey. Big start to the game for her. It's her 6th hit up. Short past him. Gregor, who's brought to ground by Johnston. And a penalty. She's been strict on the ruck to start. Belinda Sharp, the referee.
Yes, that was Amber Hall coming in on a down line. Tamika Upton decides to tap and go and catch the Dragons' defence napping. Just snatches 15 metres away from them. They need to make sure that Amber Hall doesn't get a head up her steam because she'll make you pay.
McGregor had Hall outside her. Opted to go herself. Metre short. Brigginshaw. Boyle. Met by Davis and Apps, and Hancock around the legs. Closes the play down. Now Upton. Upton! She's over the line. Can she get it down? We're going to check it out.
Okay.
The 3-time try scorer from last week.
Got tackle 4. We've got no try. Confirming obstruction, please.
Ooh.
So not just grounding, obstruction as well is what we're going to be looking at, Ruth.
Yeah, well, she was definitely held up. She got turtled, so turned over on her back there by the Dragons' defence, just scrambling on their try line. As we watch the replay here, well, she did run behind her player with the ball in hand, so I think that Belinda Sharp is onto it.
Ball is caught on the inside of the lead runner by the Broncos, disadvantaging the St George defence. We have a decision.
Yeah, that's as textbook as that ruling can get for those who may be looking for a clear example of what the obstruction rule looks like. That is no try confirmed. So Upton looking to get her 4th try of the season. Continues searching, but that face right there is the future of the game. Phenomenal last week. Don't forget, join Alana Ferguson, Ruan and Danica Mason on 9's NRLW show, now streaming on 9 Now, with a brand new episode every week during the NRLW 2020 season. There's so much to talk about each week. The quality of this footy. If you haven't watched NRLW footy before, settle in and enjoy the next 50-odd minutes. It's Chapman. Tries to get out of the tackle from Boyle and Lenadusi, no success. Studden, Bremner in the line. Bent, has space, and Penatani outside. Opts to run herself, pushes away from McGregor. Eventually tackled by Frassard. Kelly finds meters. Hit by Boyle. Good running game last week, Isabel Kelly, despite being part of a losing effort. The 4 and 3, Kelly and Surgis, one of the most exciting pairings in the comp this year. Studden kicks over the top, and the chase is a good one. And it is Lauren Brown who snipes it from Upton. Upton was coming in and sliding towards it, but Brown takes it and then runs 15 or 20 metres before being flattened by 3 Dragons defenders.
Well, it was a really great take, pushing back towards her own goal line, and I think she saved Tamika Upton getting absolutely pancaked by the defence coming through. As we see another error here forced by the Dragons. You see how happy they are with it. Now getting themselves into some good ball position on their own 20. I want to see Studden take advantage of this. I really want to see her grab hold of it and then bring Bremner in off an edge, and they will be dangerous.
Well, she's an Australian New South Wales player, the number 7 for the Dragons, captain New South Wales in 2018, and was the tournament MVP in the Nines in Perth earlier this year. Doesn't that feel like a lifetime ago?
Doesn't it?
Same year, same season. That was the pre-season for this. And she has the ball, will feed it. Centre of the field, 20 out. The Dragons looking to hit back. It's Surgis. Tackled by her opposing number 3, Julia Robinson. Apps. Strong hit by Boyle. Ball and all. There's a question mark about whether she took the ball, Boyle. Wisely lets go. Studden. Johnston. Straight into goal. That's a size mismatch.
She didn't shy away though, did she, Gould?
And
what
succeeded.
a good unders tackle.
Albert again. Amber Hall with the tackle around the shoulders. Allowed to play on. Studden. And Boyle again with good tackle. And Lenadusi, they've been effective in defence. Last tackle. Studden. Shapes inside, grubbers through. Upton can't get it with the first grab, picks it up second time and runs it dead. They'll get another set.
Right, this is good. This is exactly what the Dragons want to do. They want to build pressure and ensure, or try and force the middle forwards of the Broncos to make some errors. They've still got their starting pack out there, as we actually just see Lenadusi run off the back of the field there. She'll be interchanged. Annette Brander comes on for her. But the Dragons have brought a couple of interchanges on themselves, so some fresh legs there. They'll want to try and find some space through the ruck.
So Brown, former Union player, has that Union-style dropout technique. It's a successful one, 40 metres. So the Dragons will start their set 25 metres out. They go left, Kelly. Shapes up Brigginshaw and tries to run over her. Bremner. Studden. Uses Johnston, ignored Albert. Johnson tries to get around McGregor. Eventually stopped by Hall, and McGregor. 2 women to bring her down. Elsie Albert. The strength of the Albert run was a feature of round 1. She hasn't had the space yet. We'll keep an eye on the PNG Orchard. Studden. Davis. The cutout pass to Chapman, and the Broncos defenders shift quickly, and then the pass to Surgis was an awkward one, and it goes to ground.
Tackle 4. Ellie.
Disappointing end to that play there. I think they created a few little opportunities, but they just haven't been able to ice it at the moment, the Dragons. So I want to continue with this control, but the Broncos, their defensive line is not bending, it is not breaking, it is looking grand final-like. So they are going to be a very tough nut to crack today for the Dragons, but the Dragons have the strike power to do it. They just need to stay patient, build pressure, and build on all their opportunities that they get.
Later on tonight, we finish off week 2 of the finals as the Young Gun Eels take on Wayne Bennett and his Red Hot Rabbitohs here at Bankwest Stadium. All that action live, 7 p.m. here on 9. Live and free, and the big story leading into that game, the failed drug test. Michael Jennings out, provisionally suspended by the NRL. Debutant Hayes Dunster is in as the Broncos are away via Frassard, pulled down over the halfway line. Isabel Kelly needed to make the tackle, and she did. McGregor, Brigginshaw. Now is Brandon. She's pulled down by her opposing number 14.
Go 10, Alia.
Shapes tries to get the pass to Upton, forced it. Elsie Albert was there with the intercept. Tamika Upton was lurking just inside. It was successful last week, but the Dragons are prepared for it this week.
They certainly are, and their middle has shored up a lot since last week. So they need to, as I spoke about, take advantage of the good field position and the good ball that they've had. We see a very strong tackle on Penatani.
It took two Broncos, but they did not miss. Tiana Penatani, but Kelly sees an opportunity on the blind side. And McGregor shuts it down 12 or 13 metres later and then pushes it back over the halfway line. They'll need to let it go. They do. Allowed to play on. Boyle, another tackle, and Gould around the body. This is Georgia Page, making her NRLW debut. Last tackle, Davis chips over the top. It's a little too deep. Upton picks it up on the fly, and she's brought to ground hard by Kezzy Apps.
She's so gutsy. My goodness, she does not shy away from the contact. Big Kezzy Apps in front of her, and she took it all on front as we see Julia Robinson again making some strides through the middle of the ground. The Dragons are starting to look a little bit weary.
3 hit-ups, Julia Robinson, but each of them has had an impact. Only 9 minutes remain in the first half. Gee, it's gone quickly, hasn't it? These 30-minute halves, when it's a tough battle, it goes quickly. Harden plays it 5 metres into Dragons territory. Brigginshaw slices through. She's away. Brigginshaw has support inside. Boyle takes it. They won't catch her. Millie Boyle will score. The Broncos in again, and Millie Boyle, the number 8, didn't she love it?
Well, this is the danger that Ali possesses with the ball in her hand. She's playing in that lock position. She's a ball-playing lock. She's not a ball-running lock. And this is what she does. She takes the line on, ball in 2 hands, and everyone knows to get around her. As we see here on the Harvey Norman replay, ball in 2 hands, shimmy one way, shake the other way, sizes it up beautifully, commits the fullback, and then passes off nicely to Millie Boyle. And Ellia Green got 10 out of 10 for her dive last week. I'm sorry, Millie. I'm going to have to just give you an 8 for that one. She kind of fell forward. Yeah.
It was the attempt.
What did you make of it down there, Alana?
I'm just really surprised that the Dragons aren't putting their bodies in front of Ali Brigginshaw, because she's adding a really great dimension to the Broncos' attack. They've got 3 ball players on there at the moment, just setting things up everywhere. But Ali's the one person that always takes the footy to the line. She's constantly looking. She always thinks run first, and her players know, as we can see Millie Boyle pushing around her. I think the Dragons really need to switch on and tighten up. I'm surprised that they look a little bit fatigued in the middle, because their outside backs are the ones taking those early tough carries. But yeah, I think they just need to be a little bit smarter and really take that time off Ali Brigginshaw when she has the footy in her hands, because she is dangerous.
So Meg Ward directly in front. Conversion is successful. Broncos fans sitting at Bankwest Stadium, they will have loved what they've seen through the first 22 minutes. Millie Boyle, the 22-year-old, with her first try. Zach Lomax, one of those watching on, his girlfriend, Jess Surgis, is the Dragons superstar. Zach himself,
newly anointed to the Blues.
I was going to say, don't worry about having an off-season yet, Zach. The fitness of that couple intimidates me just by thought.
I'd hate to be their dog. Imagine having to go for runs with them all the time.
Just
Goodness.
Too much. Sit at home on a Sunday morning and have a coffee. So more changes for both these sides. Jessica Elliston in the 12 for the Broncos. She's playing the ball. It was an awkward play, the ball allowed to play on. The Dragons called for a knock on. Surgis was certain of it, but Belinda Sharp will play on, and the try scorer Boyle will play it. Gregor had Harden outside her, opted against. Again, they had numbers, though, if she chose to spread it. Last tackle. Short side. Brigginshaw. Cut out to Ward. Ward puts the kick back inside. It'll find ground. Aitken is there as a chaser, and the Dragons diffuse it, but for a couple of moments there, wasn't a huge amount of urgency from the Red V.
No, it was good option play there by Ali. I like that midfield kick. Just needed a couple more Broncos chasers to make it a real contest there. But as we see here, they're really, really gearing up in defence, the Broncos.
Pass goes behind Penatani. It's picked up by Davis. Showing signs of fatigue, the Dragons. 2 tries down. It was the second half in the grand final that the Broncos really ran away with it last year, as Kezzy Apps showing no sign of that fatigue. Gets up and keeps going, but told to come back. Gould, though, who she ran through, has stayed down. And the headgear is flung off. She's in significant discomfort. Lavinia Gould.
And the response from the referee was immediate, so they knew straight away that there was something wrong with her, but when she hit the deck, she took the headgear off, and looks like could be around the rib area.
A strong runner, Kezzy Apps.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see what happened as she's landed on top of Kezzy Apps' boot, right in the ribs, and let me tell you, that is painful.
One of the toughest players in the competition, Lavinia Gould, 37 years of age and still going. Scored a try in both grand final wins for the Broncos. She's been working hard. Have a go at this, Lavinia Gould, to show some of the commitment of these NRLW players in order to be able to play for the Broncos, but also continue to work through the season. Gets up at 3 a.m. every day, finishes at 3 p.m. with her job, and then goes to training with the Broncos. Incredible commitment. Tomorrow afternoon, don't miss the Suncorp Super Netball preliminary final as the Lightning and the Fever look to book a spot in next week's grand final. Our coverage from 1 p.m, live and free here on 9.
Wait on.
As the Eels, just another young fan, and NRLW player in the making, already has the signature braided hairstyle. So Gould will come from the field. And she'll be replaced by Shanae Shazolka, making her debut for the Broncos. Shanae Shazolka from Toowoomba.
Good.
As the Dragons put the ball on the toe on the 4th, and Tamika Upton picks it up and has some open space, but is tackled to the ground on the 40. So a great place to start the set for the defending premiers. Frassard, tackled by Kezzy Apps. Taylor Holmes on the field as well, and the 16 makes another tackle against Brander. Final 5 minutes of the half. Apps slow to her feet. Boyle. She's tackled. Now making her way back into the line, Kezzy Apps. Couldn't complete last week because of injury. Brander. Straight into Holmes and bent. Tackled inside the 10, right of the upright. Last tackle, Brigginshaw. To Aitken, who can't take it, goes behind her. Robinson has it, still the last. She kicks. The chase is lackluster, and Tiani Penatani will pick it up, and McGregor will make the tackle, and the Dragons will get a penalty as well in front of the kicker.
Well, this is very much a relieving penalty for the Dragons. They've been pinned down here for a long while, as Kezzy Apps, the co-captain, is down receiving some treatment from the physio at the moment. Last play, they tried to catch the Broncos napping, but they were aware to it, and of course, little Johnny on the spot, Tamika Upton, was all over it. But giving away that penalty, I think that Kelvin Wright will want their discipline just to tighten up a little bit in this segment.
So Isabel Kelly ran for 149 metres last week.
Right.
Plays it to Penatani. Bent. Straight into Brander and Harden. Studden. Robinson with the shoulder, and now Surges has some open space, and she runs straight into Shazolka. Welcome to the NRLW, Shanae. Jess Surgis with a solid welcome to the competition. Kezzy Apps, she turns and goes into Boyle.
It's always good to test out the new ones with a straight, direct line.
And Kezzy has stayed down again. She was unwell after the last contact.
Looks like she's holding that right lower leg as we see a replay here of Jess Surgis just squaring up on Shazolka. Even got a fend up under the chin too. Welcome to footy.
Yeah, she comes from rugby.
Welcome to footy, but she held her ground. She held her ground, got back on top, controlled the ruck. Good work, Shazolka. As we see here a replay. I think her leg just gets caught underneath the tackle there of Lauren Brown.
She's already got one leg strapped, but this is the other leg.
It's the other leg, Matt. Yes, it's the one that's not strapped. So there is some concern being shown here by Mick Baines, their physio. Oh, I think it's actually the leg of and weight of Millie Boyle coming over the top. Both Bega girls coming together this afternoon.
She looks particularly
getting
uncomfortable,
some tests.
Kezzy.
So he's just testing. That test you see being done now is about knee stability. So he's testing how much movement there is in the joint. It'll test whether it's a PCL, ACL, MCL, all of those ligaments through the joint there. She looks like it's sort of touch, but hopefully for the Dragons and Dragons fans, she's all right. And of course, obviously for the Blues, we hope that she's all right.
Yeah, she was the inaugural Dally M Player of the Year in 2016. Kezzy played with New South Wales since 2014, captained it as well, an all-star. One of the faces of the game. It hasn't been a seamless 2020.
And they're calling for an interchange here, Matt. They're changing her out. So this is a huge blow for the Dragons. A huge blow.
So it just gives her a pack on the head. She'll come in to do the play the ball. She doesn't look good.
No. And actually, Kezzy Apps won it the second year. The first year, it was Jenny Sue Hepper from Queensland. She plays for North Queensland. She's currently captaining North Queensland up there. And she is a wonderful little player, a wonderful 5'8". She's so good. She had a baby and has come back to the game now as well. So, and it's so good to see her back out there running around. And I hope to see her on this stage very, very soon.
So it'll be Farsavalu Falmasili who comes back onto the field after having a rest after the first 15 minutes. So the Dragons, with just over 3 minutes remain until halftime, Steph Hancock straight and hard into Brander. Last tackle after the delay. What can they offer up? Bremner comes in for a run. Turns and still going. Pushes away from Boyle. And now Talay Holmes turns and straightens herself. And loses the ball in the tackle. So they went left to right, eventually losing the footy, and the Broncos with Tamika Upton come away with it. So the ball came loose on the replay there. Right to be unhappy that there wasn't a penalty for the hand in the ruck.
Well, she tried to make up for it with the next tackle too, did Talay Holmes.
Harden, straighten.
Some heavy contact out there, Matt.
Georgia Page.
Another girl from a rugby union background, Georgia Page.
That's a great kick.
Great
and the
kick
bounce
by Brigginshaw.
is successful for the Broncos, and now they're still going. Shazolka has space, and they have supporters, but Elliston can't hold on to it. It goes to ground. There were 5 Broncos lined up and 1 Dragon defender.
That is a shame for the Broncos because that was shaping to be a definite 4-pointer if that ball goes to hand.
Here's that kick again. The bounce was horrific.
Wicked bounce. It was like we were back at the SCG watching the ball bounce.
Farsavalu Falmasili sees an opportunity and will sneak 11 or 12 metres, tackled just over the 40. Hancock. Another big effort from Hancock, 10 tackles at her third hit up. Bremner. Kelly to McGregor's shoulder, bounces off it. Bremner has it again. Still going, Bremner. Shapes through, and Bremner, such danger with that run. Eventually taking 3 or 4 Broncos to stop her, but they just could not hold her movement. Last tackle Final minute. Can they get one before the break? Steph Hancock wants to go herself, tries to get the pass away. She wants to 6 again, call. And the ruling with the check to the sideline official. We're going to stop the clock and we're going to have a look. An important play to get right if the Dragons are to keep the footy.
There's a few things happening here. There's an injured Bronco in back play. And I think if we can get a replay of that last tackle option, is that Racine McGregor?
It is.
Down. It looks like she's receiving some treatment to that left leg. We can't quite get a good enough view to see what the physio is looking at the moment.
She was the one that went down last week, Ray McGregor. So
yep, and was down a little bit earlier today.
Well,
with an ankle or a lower leg.
It shows strength, doesn't it? Just shows how she just keeps going.
But I want to see a replay of that last tackle option for the Dragons, because I think Steph Hancock was claiming that she went to offload the ball here. A Broncos player has played at it and then she's caught it. I think she's claiming that Aiken has played at the ball and then she's regathered the ball once Aiken played at it, so it should be 6 again. And looking at that replay, I can't disagree with her. Here we go.
It was a moment where she had the hand
here.
free.
She pops it.
Yep. It's Aiken's hand that rips it back into her.
Yeah.
The decision and
Captain's challenge. Here we go.
No, she said challenge.
Can I redeem myself?
Yeah, Brigginshaw, rightfully, the replay has been played about 4 times on the screen before the captain's challenge is needed to be asked.
Well, they did ask for the captain's challenge before the referee went over to see the injury.
So it's Aiken's hand that rips it in.
Ball is lost by Steph Hancock in the tackle. Challenge by the Dragons is unsuccessful.
Well, there you go. I'm 0 from 2. Get rid of me.
The officials' box is about 3 up. Be sure you walk into the right one next week.
No more challenges.
I wouldn't have a job if I walked into that one next week.
So the Broncos may consider themselves lucky to have the ball as the final seconds of the first half count down. We are set for an exciting second 30 though. This grand final rematch has so far delivered, especially if you're a fan of the Broncos who have to fly in, come straight to the game and fly out directly because of COVID. Tamika Upton, she'd had 3 tries by this stage last week. She'll get up and play it. This will be the last tackle. Siren goes in the background. We won't even get another one. So at halftime, it is the Broncos leading the Dragons in this grand final rematch, 12-0. Welcome back. The St George Illawarra Dragons have an uphill battle if they're to get their first win against the Broncos. Rue, who's the player that'll do it?
The player to watch for me, Sam Bremner, with Kezzy Apps, her co-captain off the field. She'll take on a lot of that captaining responsibility, and she made some incisive runs in that first half, and with the ball in hand, she is dangerous.
What about you, Alana?
I'm going to go with the opposition fullback, Tamika Upton. We saw her score a hat-trick last week, and I think she's shown really great signs in attack. It's just that the Dragons are probably doing a little bit better at defending her at the moment, but when that space comes, she's able to attack it. So I think just give her that time, let fatigue set in that little bit, and she'll take plenty of those opportunities.
Well, 30 minutes to figure out the answer to all these questions. Annette Brander with the first hit up of the second half. The Dragons, the only success they've had against the Broncos in the women's form of the game, the Perth Nines, where the Dragons took that competition out, otherwise have yet to get a win against the Broncos in the NRLW, including in that grand final last year. Fine conditions at Bankwest Stadium, and the crowd starting to roll in as well ahead of tonight's big final. And they are going to be entertained over the next 29 minutes as the defending premier Broncos are going to be told that it's a forward pass and bring it back. Alana.
Maddie. Just a shattering update on Kezzy App. She's hobbling out now. That right knee injury is going to keep her off the field for the rest of today. We know that she's got those crutches there on hand, and fingers crossed it isn't anything too long-term for Kezzy App. She's still got that beautiful smile on her face. You've got to love her. What a champion. And she'll be screaming for her girls out there for the rest of this game today.
Infectious smile, but really disappointing scenes for Dragons fans. They'll need all of their guns to fire if they are to overcome the 2-time defending premiers. Hunt with her first touch of the half, runs into Boyle. Christina Pauly The sister of Paulie. On the 20. Studden. Shazolka. Bremner. Inside Kelly. Runs away from Brigginshaw. Can't get away from Brown. Does get the pass away though. Paulie again. Turn and straight. Tackled by Brigginshaw.
Paulie needed to find her outside defence there. Last tackle now. We'll see what they've got on the short edge.
Davis goes that short side and Surgis will score. The perfect start for the Dragons. They needed to be the first to hit back. They've done it within 2 minutes.
Well, this was a lovely piece of play down that short edge as I spoke about. I thought Paulie had taken the wrong option by taking the tackle, but we're going to see here on the Harvey Norman replay, Keely Davis sums it up beautifully. Hits a lovely short ball to Surgis, running that hard down line back towards the inside shoulder of the defensive line. And watching it from this angle, it'll be even more beautiful. You see the space open up and just how strong she is to get over for that 4-pointer for the Dragons. Alana, how'd it look to you?
It looked great. Really good signs for the Dragons. I thought Keely Davis did something really well then. That was just really straighten up the defence and take that ball to the line. I think it's something that the Dragons have been lacking in that first half. They were able to get good field position, but they weren't really taking that defensive line on. So promising signs. Keely Davis obviously needs to get the footy in those hands again and just keeping on, peppering them, running at that defensive arm. Look at her. She just attacks them. The defence have no time to get to Jess Surgis, and she's one person that you need plenty of bodies in front to stop. So clever football, and the earlier that they can get the ball and try and isolate Jess Surgis with the defence, the better the Dragons are going to go today.
She ran over her opposing number 3, Julia Robinson. She scored earlier her 5th try, which took it to the top of the NRLW all-time try scorers list. With that, Surgis joins her on 5 tries. And Maddie Studden will have her first conversion attempt towards the setting sun side of Bankwest. It's pushed away.
The conversion unsuccessful. Score remains Brisbane leading 12 points to 4, and the Dragons hit back. St. George and Illawarra fans, make some noise for your footy team.
Stay on side here. Stay on side.
High above a picturesque Bankwest Stadium ahead of tonight's do-or-die final, the Parramatta Eels and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. That's coming up live and free here on 9, but where we are right now is just as entertaining as the defending premiers are on their back foot to start the second half. The Dragons needed to be the first to score. It was none other than the 23-year-old Golden Boot recipient, Jess Surgis.
It was an unusually short kick there by Broncos to start off. It finds the Dragons already at halfway through Steph Hancock.
Steph playing against her former side, slow to her feet during the week, said she'd use their intel to help the Red V get their first victory against the Broncos. Davis now running to Surgis, puts the ball down. Just looked up before the ball got to her. Robinson in front of her, and the ball goes to the ground. Jess Surgis, but there's another injury for the Dragons. This one, Keely Davis.
It sounded like Keely got hammered after she threw that ball. There was a huge whack, and Jess Surgis, uncharacteristically, we've seen her put a couple of balls down with open space in front of her. There was definitely a try-scoring opportunity down that short edge, and Keely Davis has been very dangerous to start this second half. I think it might be a knee-on-knee or a... Actually, I don't even want to speculate until we can see it properly.
Yeah, well, here we go. It was Elliston that she ran into. So she offloads it. And Elliston, you bang on.
Oh, cork.
Speculate all you want, Roo. That is...
As long as it's not a captain's challenge.
That is... if it doesn't involve the bunker, then you bang on. Either way, she's going to be strapped up, Keely Davis. She had to shift position at the start because of the injury to Shaq Tungai, the number 6 who was named at the start of the week, had the shoulder injury, so she couldn't play. Dragons had to shuffle. Keely Davis moving into the halves. It is a perfect afternoon for footy as well.
Isn't it a beautiful looking stadium from this drone shot, Matt?
one of the best stadiums. If you haven't had the opportunity, if you're a Sydney resident in particular, if you haven't had the opportunity to come out and watch footy here at Bankwest, do yourself a favour and figure it out, because it is as good in person as you'd think. Great bit of sportsmanship here as well. This is
The
Kezzy
two
Apps
Bega
and
girls, Matt.
Millie Boyle. You mentioned they came from the same town. Kezzy moved back to Bega. A little hug, a lot of respect between the two internationals.
Stay there,
Teammates at New South Wales, teammates at Gillaroos. It's lovely to see them like that.
So we focus back up here, and Talisha Harden is hit hard and driven back by 3 Dragons defenders. Shaylee Bent, the predominant Lenarduzzi, as she's been doing all afternoon, making metres after contact. Holmes again with the tackle, and Steph Hancock tripped as she tried to get to her feet. Bringshaw, Harden again. Harden driven back once more. Strong defence out of centre. And Shaylee Bent in the 12. Bringshaw back inside to Brown. Did well to get in front of her and pass it back for a moment there. It looked like it was going to be an awkward one on the last. McGregor kicks back infield. Bremner is comfortably under it, and she'll begin the assignment of bringing it back out, and she meets the kicker McGregor and tackled by Frassard. Studden. It's a strong run by the experienced number 7 for the Dragons.
And a strong tackle by Frassard to meet her. The Dragons were making easy metres until Frassard controlled that ruck speed.
Holmes. It's around Robinson. Eventually brought down by Elliston over the top. Surges still going. Has that high arm. Is pushed over the sideline. Shazolka took the hit originally, but stayed in contact and dragged her over the side.
This is great defence. Great defence by the outside edge there. Shazolka and Julia Robinson just hold her up, and drive her towards that sideline. And they needed to, because she is so dangerous when she gets a little bit of open space in front of her. The Dragons are starting to make some really good metres through the middle of the ruck of the Broncos, off the back of their outside backs, getting in there and taking at least 12 to 15 with every single run. So there's some really positive signs. Obviously scoring the first try is a huge bonus for them as well.
The Dragons pushed in the scrum. It was to no effect because the Broncos still have it, but signs that they're thinking outside the box. Gregor into the shoulder of Bent. Lenarduzzi. And she's driven back again by 3 defenders. Paulie leading that tackle. This Dragons defence has come out with intensity in the second half. Bremner, the bounce is unkind to her, so it's Penatani who will take it. And she's met immediately by Brigginshaw, and the Broncos maul her in the tackle.
Well, what's been great for the Dragons defensively, they're getting numbers in the tackle, and they're actually driving the middle forwards of the Broncos back, which we haven't seen much, as we see Sam Bremner comes hobbling out of that last piece of contact there. We'll keep an eye on her. The trainer's just behind her. It looks like a left ankle that she's having some issues with.
This was the tale of their game in week 1 as well. Just injuries throughout the course of the game to their big names. We'll keep an eye on Bremner. Surgis was one of those who didn't come out unscathed from last week, but has been strong through the first 40. Paulie. On the last, Studden. Kicks it high and back across field. Ward is able to take it without too much pressure. The kick was high, but the Dragons' chase wasn't a strong one. Alana, as Upton goes over to the 30. Alana
I'm not surprised there's a couple of women out there limping. The contact from these women is bone-shattering. We can hear every last bit of contact. It is incredible. Tiana Petitini on this left wing for the Dragons. She's hobbling that left knee heavily strapped, and then Sammy Bremner out the back. Didn't come out of that tackle too nicely either, so we'll keep an eye on those, but just the contact is brilliant, especially towards the back end of the game. It has not wavered one little bit.
Robinson from the nice inside ball by Aitken. Last tackle, Lenadusi didn't expect to get it. Quickly gives it to Brigginshaw, who shows her experience, puts it on the toe. Pinatani takes it, and she's turned and is met by two Broncos defenders. Amber Hall over the top. That's a mismatch physically, and then Hall again pulling the hair.
Yeah, that is a definite penalty, and then we hear Isabel Kelly sounds like she is in some serious pain down there.
Yeah.
So she's holding her knee. It was the hair that she pulled.
Oh, no.
After the tackle?
It looked very awkward in real time. Definitely a hair pull. And then I think, oh, the body weight of Amber Hall just goes down on the back leg of Isabel Kelly, and immediately you can see the pain on her face. This is devastating. The trainer is calling for the stretcher already.
Isabel Kelly is another one of the faces of the game. While she gets tended to, we'll take a break and we'll be back.
You reckon that's a hip drop tackle? We saw the Melbourne guy got that.
Here at Bankwest Stadium, the story hasn't got any better for Isabel Kelly, the 24-year-old Dragon. She's up, which is great news. She's going to be carried from the field, showing her toughness. The Berkeley Vale Junior. She came from the Roosters to the Dragons this year in time for the Nines. Her dad, Ken, played for Manly in the 80s, and she's rapidly becoming one of the stars of NRLW, but that is not what you want to see at any time.
And Belinda Sharp has called the penalty there for the hair pull, obviously, and we can see Isabel. We wish you all the best, Izzy and Kezi. Two big-name players injured. And that is just a devastating blow for the Dragons campaign and New South Wales as well.
So they've lost Apps. They've lost Kelly. Bremner has already shown some issues with that ankle. If the Dragons are to do it, it will be an almighty effort from here.
Mahalia Murphy's on the field too, Matt, playing in that centre position for Isabel Kelly. Watch her to get her hands on the ball early and create some space.
Page makes it over the 30-metre line. Called the rugby war goddess Georgie Page because of an injury that she suffered while playing rugby, and the video of her face smashed up went viral. She's another tough one. The contact, as Alana mentioned, has been strong in this game. And we still have another 19 minutes. Elsie Albert goes hard and straight and mows Lauren Brain down. Brown flattened. Elsie Albert strong. The Dragons lose the footy just as they were building to something.
Unfortunately there, the dummy half just knocks the ball on. It was a great run. It's the first time we've seen her really wind up this afternoon, Matt, and she lined up Lauren Brown and did not miss there. But then is finished off by her Broncos cohorts. Unfortunately, just this little knock on. They were on the push to the Dragons. They were finding some space, and Fasavalu Farmasili just bounced it off her foot.
Yeah, it was awkwardly placed, Fasavalu Farmasili, because to play the ball from Albert was as textbook as it gets, just raked it back with the foot, and you don't often see it. So the Broncos will get it. They'll get a let off there. An injured Dragons outfit was building, and they are showing no shortage of signs of life, Roo.
No, well, we've heard about the contact down there. It is getting a little bit spicy out there at the moment. I love this contact. I love the forwards running through the middle, and we're seeing the edges just pushing through.
Robinson as she has done time and time again. She likes to cut back inside and then drift across field, but her speed has made her elusive. Gould back on the field. Brigginshaw flicks the pass to Meg Ward. Good hands from Ward, good hands from Brigginshaw as well. On the last, McGregor has time. Attempts the torpedo spiral. Isn't perfect, but the bounce is awkward and Bremner is hit. Suggestions of a possible penalty, tackling in the air, but allowed to play on. Chapman spun around in the tackle. Jess Elliston with the tackle. Only played one half of footy last season, Elliston, before having to miss the rest of the season with injury, so she's done well to get through a game and a half this year. Bremner again pushes away from Gould, and then Lenarduzzi swings her and throws her to the ground.
Well, Matt, after that last tackle, Jess Surgis has stayed down. Could this potentially be another injury woe for the Dragons?
If you list the 3 Dragons players you would not want to lose in a game, Apps, Surgis. They're 2 of the 3, and then you add Kelly, as that is a big hit.
That has to be a penalty.
And Studden has stayed down as well. The legs were taken out in the tackle.
And Matt, this is the 4th player you wouldn't want to lose. You don't want to lose your halves in a game like this. She is clutching at that ankle. It is most definitely a penalty. And this is very uncomfortable looking there.
You don't usually see that from someone as experienced as Ellie Brigginshaw. Just shows this game has kicked up to another level, Roo, over the last couple of minutes. The spite level and the intensity has moved up a notch. You feel it.
It has, and you can. It's palpable. Jess Surgis is still with the trainer on the far side of the field. Maddie Studden is receiving some treatment from the physio on the near side of the field, on the western side for us, but she's banging the ground.
So this is what happened to Jess Surgis.
Oh, yeah. So that ankle got caught underneath the body of the Broncos defender there. She got up and played the ball as quickly as she could, but then went straight back down.
So tough. Jess, similar situation last week. She injured that ankle, but she refused to go off. Just got told, you'll be right, and she stayed on. She makes her way to the huddle. Unbelievable.
Let's get some of that magic spray out there. Cold spray. It seems to work wonders.
Work for you?
Oh, sometimes.
So we have a second to reset. Ellie Brigginshaw gets placed on report in the process. So she could become the 2nd player in the history of NRLW to potentially miss a game. I'm not saying that that's where we've gotten to at the moment, but she will be facing the judiciary between now and next week.
Yeah, it'll be reviewed for a grading, and then we'll see where she stands after that.
Studden is okay. She's back to her feet. So again, it feels like every time we've stepped it up, we've had to pause, breathe life into the game and go again. So Mahalia Murphy, another one of the rugby converts over to rugby league, will get us underway again. The Dragons, they're familiar with this part of the field with the footy. Are they able to convert it to points again? Shaylee Bent goes straight into Lenarduzzi. Studden. Albert bumps away from Elliston and throws Robinson away, and still going, hands free. Oh, she went outside. She had unmarked players. But she goes herself, and Aiken makes the tackle eventually. They go that way eventually, and this time they will score. The Dragons are in. They have players down everywhere, but there is life in this red V, but we're going to check it.
We've got tackle 4. We've got no try. Confirm no grounding, please.
Oh.
So Jamie Chapman, if she doesn't ground this, it would be a blown try in the most specific sense. She comes in, leans forward. Roo, was there separation?
I'm looking, I am so close. Oh. No. I'm so close to this screen.
The on-field
I can't see. It's on-field, no try. Does she maintain any pressure?
Yeah, that's fine.
Or is there separation right at the end there, Matt?
No.
If anyone could take a photo of what I'm doing right now, it would be strange. My face is right up here on this screen. Oh, I think she does bounce it.
Does not do any help. Oh, this would be such a shame.
Jamie Frassard loses possession of the ball over the line. We have a decision.
So the no try ruling will stay. And the Dragons will
Okay, we've got
have
a knock on over the line.
regroup and attempt to go again. Alana.
Well, the Dragons, this is do or die for the Dragons. They've really got to find some points, and unfortunately, they're running out of time. We spoke a little bit during the week, Roo, about a couple of positional changes, and I still think watching this game, and especially at the moment with a couple of injuries that have occurred, Sammy Bremner, if she was moved into that 5'8" position, every time she's got the footy in her hand, she looks so dangerous. And for a do or die game, I think Sammy needs to just get in there, whether it be she defends at the back, at full back, and just comes in and attack. I think she really needs to. We see the ball change over here. We need to get that football in Sammy Bremner's hands more often because they need to get some serious points on the board.
Well, Lenadusi gives them that opportunity, and she looks to make up for it in defence. Races out of the line, the Broncos, number 10. So the Dragons will go again. Short on troops. But they are finding a way past this two-time defending Premier Broncos outfit. Studden. Albert. And Albert goes straight into Lenadusi. Again. Studden. Bremner. She's met immediately by Jamie Frassard. Quick play the ball. Short side Murphy. Bent got herself into an awkward position, and Frassard again with another tackle. Murphy eventually choosing to go herself, had no support players. On the last, Studden. Grubbers through, looking for the repeat set, but Tamika Upton is in the right place at the right moment.
What a read. What a read by Tamika Upton. You could see that Maddie Studden was looking for that 6 again as Amber Hall winds up to create some opportunities. Racing McGregor is tackled on the 20 there, but unfortunately for the Dragons, they just missed their opportunity on that last tackle here. They really need to pin the Dragons down, pin the Broncos down in their half.
14 minutes remain in this round 2 NRLW fixture. Only 60-minute games and a penalty
back of the neck. Just a penalty
to the Broncos. A crusher tackle as Millie Boyle makes her way back onto the field. Shaylee bent over the top, and there it is. Bends the head forward.
Yeah, that's a fair penalty. I think Belinda Sharp has refereed this game pretty well this afternoon. She's seeing things well. She's being very concise with her directions to both teams, and also there that crusher tackle has just been put on report. So that's 2 players on report out of this game.
So Shaylee Bent will also have some question marks after the game. Ellie Brigginshaw and Shaylee. McGregor tries to slice through. 13 minutes remain. The Broncos have had very little footy this second half. Lavinia Gould was injured earlier. The 37-year-old is back on. And slow to her feet and back down. The number of injuries in this second half.
Well, Lavinia Gould went down with a contact injury to the ribs earlier in the game, and she's just stayed down after this tackle. As Isabel Kelly, we see vision of her coming out on crutches with that left ankle iced. This is really upsetting for Izzy, and hopefully we'll get some information.
So this is Lavinia Gould's tackle. Another ankle injury.
Yeah, just the body weight of the tackler over the ankle there. Oh, that did look uncomfortable.
This is unusual. This amount of injuries, Roo, you've been involved in the game. This is an unusually high number of players to go down in a half.
It is unusually high, especially when you think about our earlier game where it was very minimal with the stoppages and injuries. It was a very, very fast-paced game, and here we've seen a lot of stoppage in play for some injuries, and I wish all of those girls the very best. I hope that they're okay because they've got big things ahead of them.
An injured Jess Surgis. The Dragons bench looking more like a hospital waiting room at the moment. Amber Hall gets us back underway and goes straight into Shaylee Bent and pushes her back 2 or 3 metres. And a doozy. Boyle Already scored one try, Boyle, and almost gets through a second time. Steph Hancock holding on desperately. Lenarduzzi pushes off Davis, then has Surgis. Can't get the hand free. There were 5 Broncos players unmarked outside her if she could. Slow play the ball on the last. Gould goes herself. But the Dragons players, in particular Keely Davis, a 9 herself, was awake to it and she's brought down.
Good marker defence there by the Dragons. They maintain the integrity of their line in this second half. Now they just need to get themselves into their own half to create some opportunities.
In off her wing. And it's smashed again. The defence in this second half has been brutal from both sides. And now Page gets away from 1 and 2. The goddess of rugby. It's just tough. If you've not watched NRLW before, if you've tuned in for the first time, this is what it is all about. The Dragons preparing to go to their bench again, and a penalty will help.
No, she's just going to make her go back and replay it here, Matt. So we're still on the 5th. Studden puts the kick up.
It is a rushed kick. The chase with Bremner is coming through quickly. Robinson picks it up, able to get away from Bremner, and she doesn't give up on it and pulls Robinson down just short of the 30. Frassard has room to run. Ball going straight into Benton, and then Elsie Albert drive it back 5-6 metres. And did she lose it as well? Ruled back. Brigginshaw.
Well, you can hear the communication from the Dragons defence. Get up, get up, get up. They are pushing well in defence at the moment. They need to hold the Broncos out.
Millie Boyle pushes away from Davis. And the ball is lost, so the Dragons will get another go.
And they can't challenge this because neither team have a challenge left. I thought potentially they could have. The marker might not have been square. However, when you lose your challenge early, you must roll the dice as the game progresses.
The player of the round last week, Tamika Upton, with her hat-trick of tries, 192 running metres, 5 line breaks, 9 tackle busts. It doesn't get better than that, but hasn't quite fired as much this week. Don't miss. A huge Sunday footy show tomorrow. Special guests Elliot Whitehead and the latest New South Wales Blues member Zach Lomax, who is here in the stands at Bankwest watching his girlfriend Jess Surgis. Catch it all live from 11 a.m. here on 9. Bremner, that first receiver, and has room to move. Bremner and Penatani outside her. She pins the ears back, and the Meg Ward ankle tap needed to be made, and it was. The Dragons unlucky again. Murphy in an acting half to Bent. She was away, Penatani. A last-ditch, desperate effort from Meg Ward saved a certain 4-pointer.
Again, we see the value of Sam Bremner getting her hands on the ball early in the tackle count.
She does it again. Cut out pass to Penatani once more. This time Meg Ward sizes her up and puts her on her back. 9 minutes remain. The Dragons need to score twice more. They've been over a number of times. They just haven't been able to finish it off. Elsie Albert straight and hard once more. Another big game from the PNG International. Plays the ball. The Fasmalu Falmasili wasn't there originally, then goes herself, gets over the line, but the Dragons looks like once more will be forced to come out and play it.
Last tackle, Alia to play the ball out 10.
Well, the scramble there by the Broncos was wonderful. Meg Ward, what a ripping ankle tap tackle there. That was a huge play because Tiana Penatani was gone for all money. She was going to score under the posts for the Dragons.
So we have another player down in the in-goal area as we look at the replay. Fasavalu Falmasili started the game at 9. She's the player who's injured, and you can see there's no shortage of weight over the top of her. Held up and doesn't realise she needs to go back to the 10-metre line to play the ball.
Out on the 10, Alia.
Yep.
Wait.
8.5 minutes remain.
Wait.
The Dragons, they've gotten over. They just not succeeded in doing it without infringement.
Push up, Talisha. Go.
Last tackle. Studden through the hands. Davis, Surgis. And she's met by Robinson. And that'll be a turnover. I'm not sure if the communication was there. I don't know if they knew it was the last.
Well, that one was just the wrong option. Hitting the second rower, coming down there with traffic in front of her. I think they needed to go over the top, the Dragons, to try and push that Broncos left edge defence.
So on the field now, the number 8 for the Dragons, Ellie Johnston. For those sitting at home watching, she first picked up rugby league after watching the 2018 State of Origin on TV and thought, I could get involved in this. And makes her second tackle playing in the NRLW. The ball gets free and allowed to play on, and so Elsie Alba gets pushed away from, and Studden eventually has to make the tackle. So those watching at home, don't think that your rugby league journey could be over. You like what you're seeing, and how could you not even know? It has been tough going. Frassard pulled down by Page. The tackle just short of the 40. And she is injured as well and does not look comfortable.
No, and Jamie Frassard has just come back from an ACL as well, Matt. So I really hope this isn't a knee injury. I hope it might just be a contact injury. That looks like an ankle, doesn't it? Could that be the right ankle getting caught up under the body of Georgia Page?
Yeah, she's grabbing the knee there. Knee or ankle, either way. So Jamie Frassard, the latest injured of the walking wounded. The 23-year-old Frassard debuted for the Broncos after coming over from New Zealand. She had to go through quarantine just to play for the Broncos. She's suffered a torn ACL and other injuries in the past as well, so COVID has given her time to recover, but she looks like she's possibly re-aggravated that one, whilst the Dragons bench is full of players who have been injured today, and stars as well. Kezzy Apps, Isabel Kelly. Kezzy Apps getting that heavy knee brace put on, whilst Frassard gets tended to on the field. Meanwhile, there they are, the Parramatta Eels counting down later tonight. It is week 2 of the finals. The Young Gun Eels having a good time at this stage. Clint Gutherson getting that very luscious head of hair pulled as they take on Wayne Bennett at his red-hot Rabbitohs right here at Bankwest Stadium. Have a go at the mo as well of Regan Campbell-Gillard. That is just a thing of beauty, Roo.
That's my cousin, Regan Campbell-Gillard. He definitely enjoys that mo. Bushy mo, socks down, just loves it.
So the Broncos will lose Frassard, and if I count here, I'm not sure they're going to be replacing it. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It is 12 on 13. They have 5 on the bench, 8 minutes to go. Such has been the attrition of this game. McGregor grubbers through, and Brigginshaw will lead the chase. Penatani, she'll bring it back. So the Broncos, Roo, have used all their subs. So anyone that goes down from here, it is just last man standing.
It certainly is, and that's why they haven't been able to replace the injured Jamie Frassard. They must play on the rest of the game with 12, and there is still 7 minutes left, so there's plenty of time for the Dragons to cause an upset.
Well, that's absolutely right. Don't forget the fact that two try-scoring opportunities. They've been successful when they have been down the other end. The Dragons looking for their first victory against the Broncos, looking to avenge the grand final losses. Johnson goes straight over Lauren Brown. On the last, Studden kicks for the corner. Penatani chasing. Upton will get there first and have time to evaluate and reset before she's tackled with Studden and bent over the top.
Well, this is a pretty high-quality finish for the Dragons. Now they need to pin the Broncos down in this corner as we see Upton struggle out of that tackle as well.
Upton is injured as well. As soon as she was tackled, the Dragons players put their hand up as Studden
is also hobbling out of that tackle.
It's phenomenal. I don't recall ever seeing something like this. That said, have a go at the courage of those who are still charging forward. Amber Hall, superb offload. Brigginshaw, straight, hard, and Varsavalu Falmasili is met on the impact, and she's slow to her feet.
You're up, you go.
Aitken She kicks for open space, and there's a lot of it. The chasers are coming through. Bremner has to cover some ground. Robinson is trying to get there in time. Chapman gets there first, but loses the ball over the sideline, so the Broncos will get it.
Well, the far winger Chapman and the fullback Bremner really had to get on their bike to defuse this kick here by Aiken. It was good vision by Aiken to notice the space, notice that the winger hadn't dropped back and the fullback was still in front of her. And Chapman tried to regather, but knocks it over the sideline. Good pressure from the Broncos.
Just over 5 minutes remaining. Jamie Chapman at knock-on when she was putting the ball down in the corner about 10 minutes ago would be the turning point of the game. Need to find enough players to pack the scrum. So the Broncos with a full scrum, 4 to the right, 1 on the left. McGregor to Hall, and Hall goes over Murphy. Brigginshaw decides to go herself after shaping both left and right. Johnston over the top. Brown. Aiken. Elliston. Well, after everything that's happened and all the pressure, for the Broncos to come down this end and score would be a real blow for the Dragons. They have dominated this half. Millie Boyle searching for her second and showing strength with the run. Brown goes herself. She'll dive over and she'll score.
Yeah. Are you happy?
The referees have a look. They point to the spot. It is confirmed. Well, the Broncos have had to do all the defending throughout the last 20 minutes, but Lauren Brown has scored.
Well, as we watch here on the Harvey Norman replay, Lauren Brown identifies that the markers and the A defenders, the ones closest to the play the ball, were standing upright, weren't low to the ground, weren't in that sprinter start position where you can get nice and low, get up and under the ball runner, and she just picks their pocket. That was beautiful work by the Sevens player there. Alana?
A funny thing happens when you lose a player from the field. The Broncos just played with 12 women, and what it did to the energy in the side, they all lifted. You'd think that the Dragons had more space and they'd be the ones attacking, but the Broncos really stood up in that moment, and that's what led it to the points. It was that shift in their attitude and just the way that they were taking the ball to the line with the aggression and the energy that they had. They were always going to score points there.
So the 25-year-old Lauren Brown, after playing her first season with the Burleigh Bears, was promoted immediately to the Broncos within a month. Such was how quickly she took to rugby league from rugby union. And now Meg Ward will have the conversion attempt from the left of the upright. Stands, sets, and conversion successful.
She missed one last week. Yeah.
So
Stay on side. Wait for the time, Keely. Stay on side. Wait for the time. Stay on.
So the Dragons get us back underway with a short kickoff attempt. Meg Ward is under it, and she's met immediately by Studden, but does well. 18 points to 4, the scoreline. The Dragons went down last week as well. Amber Hall straight into Shaylee Bent. So hard to bring to ground, Amber Hall. And eventually the held call is made. She plays it, and Brown, the try scorer, pushes away from Johnston, and Johnston comes back for a second bite and pulls it down on the halfway. Brigginshaw, short side, no one in front of her, still going, Ellie Brigginshaw. Desperation defence from Ellie Johnston, and did really well. Now Boyle through the hands, Aiken, once again, they've got an overlap to the left, they go that way. Upton, Robinson for her second, goes for the corner, great defence, and she's tackled a metre short. Desperate defence from the Dragons.
She's lost it in the tackle too. What good scramble from the Dragons.
Jamie Chapman. She failed to score one at one end, but she saved one at the other. Robinson had pinned the ears back and was going for the corner, and The Dragons, they shifted and scrambled and they forced the error.
Well, Matt, the way the Broncos ran that left-hand shift there, it looked like they were the one that had the player overlap because they just held the Dragons inside defence. The Dragons couldn't check and release and move and push onto the outside players. It was just phenomenal. They've got 12 people on the field.
And they'll finish the game with 12 people. 45 seconds remain. The Broncos will continue their undefeated run for the season. Penatani loses the footy. It'll go over the sideline. That, you'd think, will be the final play. So after round 2,
penalty here, Matt.
We're going back for the penalty.
Differential penalty as well, nonetheless.
All right, Belinda Sharp. Later on tonight as well, don't miss the NRL final, the big one between the Eels and the Rabbitohs from 7 p.m. live and free right here on 9. The Broncos and the Roosters will finish round 2 of the NRLW undefeated. This one, a battle of attrition. The Broncos will win the grand final rematch. That will be the final tackle. The siren sounds in the background. We are done. It is the Broncos beating the Dragons 18 points to 4.